Good evening, and welcome to the January 26th, 2020 installment of Rant-Om Thoughts. Today, I think I'll talk about my line of work, what I do for a living. Now, before we begin, let me start with a disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this video are mine and mine alone, and not officially those of Allied Universal Security Systems. I don't want it to be construed by my superiors at Allied Universal that I am speaking in any official capacity on behalf of the company. Just thought I'd get that out of the way there. Now, without much further ado, how did I come about this line of work? Well, we can start at the very beginning. When I was a very young man, I felt an urge, a calling to help people. That's why I do a lot of the things that I do. Around the time of my grandmother's passing, that urge, that calling, started feeling a lot more urgent. So I went out and got my guard card in 2009. I took a 9-hour course. I paid a bunch of fees. I got the card. Now, did I get a job in that field right away? Unfortunately not. You see, Modesto is the most economically depressed city in the most economically depressed state in the country. You know, in order to get a job outside of fast food or retail, it seems like you either need to be related to somebody important in that company, or you have to be like the right skin color or the right gender at the right time so they could meet some federal, affirmative action obligation. So I wound up working for Big Lots for 7 years, which is a low-end retail chain. Because in the kind of economy that we're living in, you have to take the kind of work that's available, and just eat it and like it. So I worked at Big Lots for 7 years. I liked the work. I liked the people, but after a while, you start feeling like you're running in place and just not really going anywhere. So in 2017, at around the time of my mother's passing, I applied for work at Cypress Private Security. I still had my guard card. I renewed it faithfully every 2 years because I liked having that professional credential right there in my pocket. So I applied, got a call from their support manager within an hour. Interviewed the next day. Within a week, passed the background checks and the drug test. Within 3 weeks, I got my uniform and I was walking beats. At first, I tried to juggle both Big Lots and Cypress simultaneously. Unfortunately, the store manager at Big Lots had this big bug up his butt about company loyalty. He didn't like people moonlighting on him. So he would do things like schedule shifts within 15 minutes after one of my Cypress shifts ended, or within 2 hours of one of my shifts starting after that shift starts. So I had to really sit down and reevaluate things. Big lots versus Cypress security. Big lots, barely above minimum wage. 3 to 25 hours a week. And if it's a good week, don't get too excited because precious truck crew will need those hours more than you do. Cypress private security, 40 to 80 hours a week. Overtime, lots of it. Benefits, pay increases and increased advancement opportunities with seniority and specialized training. Well, Grandma did not raise no dummy, so guess which employer won that contest? Cypress did. I put in my notice at Big Lots and went my merry way. My initial posting was at a county-run mental health facility in Ceres. Because of confidentiality oaths that I have signed, I can't get into specifics as to what I did down there. I can say that it's very similar to work that security guards would do at a hospital. There are a lot of perimeter checks. There's access control, foot patrol. We also a part of our job was to take note of vandalism or any potential safety hazards, and that's really all I can get to about that. Then I got transferred to the bus station, which was my favorite posting because I got to work with people from all walks of life, and it was there I really felt appreciated by a lot of people. When I took over swing shift, I was receiving compliments from bus passengers, bus drivers, maintenance about how I and my colleague who worked graveyard shift, Jitendra Dean. I wish I could tell stories about Jitendra Dean, but I got to keep it PG. He the guy can get a little earthy with his language. But anyway, how I and Jitendra Dean we really cleaned that place up. I had a Greyhound ticket agent tell me that Greyhound drivers, whenever they would come to Modesto in the evening, would actually look forward to seeing me because I made them feel safe. I had 3 co-workers, including Jitendra Dean, who's done security since the early 80s, tell me that I should have that I ought to be a site supervisor. Now to have people tell me that I have leadership skills, especially somebody who's that experienced in that field is a very it's a very high compliment. In 2019, the summer of 2019, Allied Universal Security Systems bought out Cypress. It's Allied is a very large security company. It's an international concern. They they're buying up a lot of the smaller companies. So they bought out they bought out Cypress. They decided to let the contract with the bus station expire, citing safety concerns. Personally, I never felt unsafe working at the bus station. I never had to get physical with anyone. There were a few times it got close, but I know how to use my size. I'm 5'11". Even when I'm thinner, I'm still broad shouldered and wide framed. And I have this rough exterior, and I know how to use command voice. All of that to my advantage, and they tend to back off and see reason that I'm not really somebody you want to be messing around with. And even if I did get physical with somebody, and even if I did lose the fight, I'd still ultimately be the winner. I'd be the one, going home and collecting my paycheck, and they would be the one going to jail. But they let that contract expire. Everybody got reassigned, and for a while, I worked a couple of temporary assignments. The the county public defender's office, and then I did a construction site. Then until I was finally put in a more permanent posting. Now I work 4 nights a week doing graveyard shift at a water facility in West Modesto, which is a high crime neighborhood. It has very serious problems with homelessness, drugs, street gangs, car theft, and metal theft. And that place has been a target for such activities, even though it's surrounded by a 10-foot concrete wall topped with razor wire. But no, it's not as bad as it sounds. Really, it's boring, and boring is actually a good thing in this business, because if it were exciting, then I'd have to write paperwork and you know incident reports, police statements, and all that stuff. It's not fun. I've had to do that before. It's not fun. Then on Saturdays, I do a day shift at an office complex in the Modesto Junior College neighborhood. Very quiet. Again, boring, which is a good thing. Just do my rounds, surveil the parking lot from the lobby in between those rounds. There's a little command center that's off to the side of the lobby where I can do paperwork and take my breaks. It's all right, though. I'm going to be doing more online training modules, and taking more courses, so I can hopefully be able to cross train at other sites. It would be really great if I were to be reassigned to a shopping center or a hospital, because I do miss working with people. Now, before we close, let's do a little product review, shall we? This is the Cheetah brand Diamondback Tactical Flashlight. Comes in 3 settings. It can expand in size, but wait, there's more. It's also a stun gun. Another feature is this cross hilt thing, which keeps it from rolling off of flat surfaces, which is an issue I've had with previous flashlights. So if you're a security guard working a beat in an undesirable neighborhood, or if you like to jog or take your dog for walks, after dark, or if you're an adventurous couple who likes to add a little bit of to their conjugal bliss, I highly recommend this tool. All right, Charles Bird signing off. Think while it's still legal. I'll see you next time.